Watch this video to learn how to play Nightfall from the Piano Adventures Level 3B Technique book. We are in the Piano Adventures Level 3B Technique and Artistry book, and we are looking at a piece in here that is called Nightfall. Looking at the information at the top of the page, it tells us that a pianist who performs with artistry can play a melody expressively with the left hand. We have been working in Snowfall and Bel Canto with playing expressively with right hand voicing, and Nightfall is going to balance that with left hand voicing. We can make the left hand melody sing by playing all the way to the bottom of the key. That means sinking in deeply using the weight of our arm. We can also use the pad of our finger, the bird beak of our finger, instead of the tip. And we want to play the right hand chords very softly and close to the keys using an up touch, which is what we have been working on. Now, this is in a minor key. You'll notice that there are no accidentals in the key signature. So that tells us that it is probably which minor key? Did you say A? If you did, you are correct. It is in the key of A minor. Other hints for us are that it begins with A at the bottom and it ends with A at the bottom at the end. Please note that you need to pay attention to the clef signs for the left hand. We are starting out here with 2 treble clefs, and over the course of this piece, you will see that we're switching to bass clef, and you need to pay attention to when that's happening. And then we're switching back to the treble clef and back to the bass clef. So your eyes always need to be on those clef signs here. Looking at the tempo, it notes that we should play this rather slowly with expression at a tempo of 80 to 92 beats a minute. We are in 4/4 time, so a quarter note will get a beat. And I think that's everything that we need to know in order to begin playing this song. Now, this piece begins in A minor. Your right hand is going to be on the A above middle C. Your left hand is beginning in a different position. It has a thumb on treble G, which will be right next door to where your right hand is because you will both be in the treble clef. Now remember, the left hand is playing the melody in this piece, and for that reason, I would like to begin by playing the left hand melody all the way through. So we are going to begin here with this G and play only the left hand melody. We will count in 4 whole beats for this empty measure before we begin. At the piano, please get your left hand thumb situated on treble G. This is middle C, so I am above middle C. Okay, let's play the left hand melody deep into the keys, trying to use the finger pad as we play. 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, T, T, ta, ah, ah. Now F, 2, 3, Now mezzo piano. Grow. Back down. Piano. 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, like the beginning. 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. Down. 2, 3. 2, 3. Down. 2, 3. 4. So that is how the melody sounds all the way through this piece. Now I tried to play it with the expression that is expected in the piece, and you were sight reading, so you might not have had all of that expression come out, but we are going to take care of that by always playing the melody alone as we're practicing this piece every day this week, so that we are constantly working on the voicing for that melody. Now we're going to put the melody inside of the bigger piece. Beginning at the top, our right hand is going to be in A minor, just above middle C. Left hand will be next door. We are beginning with the A minor chord with an up touch, quietly. Try just that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when we put the melody inside of it, we need the melody to still come in louder. It's mezzo forte, even though we are playing the other hand quiet, and that takes some coordination. So let's do this slowly the first time. We're going to play just the top line together. 1, 2, ready, go. Now pretty loud. How did that feel? Sometimes when you have to play both hands at the exact same time, with the one hand being loud, which in this case is the left, and the other hand being quiet at the exact same time, that can take a little bit of practice. So please do check yourself to see how you are doing with that, and stop here and practice it a little bit more before you move on, because it would be good to enter this piece with that ability. We're going to play that first phrase again, now a little bit quicker, beginning at the top, line 1 only. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Let's move on to the second phrase. This time our left hand gets to lead with our right hand coming in behind. We will go to the end of the third line. 1, 2, begin at 4 and go. Actually get louder at the end of the third line in measures 8 and 9. We're going to play that section again one more time, and I'm going to note when the pedals should go up and down to help you to focus on the pedaling for a moment. So back to the beginning, and 1, 2, here we go. Down. Up, down, 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 up, down. Great. That is most of what what you need to focus on in section 1. Let's take a look now at section 2. Section 2, we are moving down. So your left hand should have a thumb on C sharp and a 2 on E. Your left hand should be 2 on A. This part sounds like this. Good, so we're working from measure 10 to measure 15, and I'm going to have you try to play this with me because we already did isolate the melody. Let's do this together. If you can focus on the dynamics or the pedaling, do, but we will go back in to add those layers. So right now, what I want you most to focus on is playing the correct notes and making the left hand heavier than the right. So we start out mezzo piano, but the right hand should be like piano. 1, 2, here we go. Great. Now let's add in the dynamics, really paying attention to them. So we're going to start out mezzo piano and then have an immediate build with a crescendo that probably goes to about mezzo forte. And when it comes back down at the end of this phrase, diminuendos all the way to piano. The next phrase is entirely piano. And then we have a crescendo in the final phrase of this section to mezzo forte and a diminuendos at the very end. So focusing on all of that, this time beginning in measure 10. 1, 2, ready, mezzo piano. Crescendo. Diminuendo. All the way to piano. Still piano. Crescendo all the way to mezzo forte, diminuendo. And I didn't talk about it, but you will notice that there are stress marks there at the end, which is why I'm pushing deep into those notes. Okay, let's go back to the beginning of the section and now layer in the pedal. So beginning at measure 10, we are going to start with the pedal up. 1, 2, here we go. Pedal down, up, down, up. Down, up, down, up, down. Up, down. Great, that is the end of section 2. Now let's move on to section 3. Section 3, you're going to move your hands back to where they were when they started. So the right hand will come up to A with the thumb, and the left hand goes with the thumb next door. Now, the voicing on this is similar for the melody. But here we're going to have a scale that goes all the way down. The right hand, instead of playing just chords like we did in the first section, now we'll play a broken chord at the beginning of each melody segment. Good. And then we'll take a look at the chords that happen at the end. So for now, let's play from measure 16 through measure 21, and we will add the first note of measure 22 to hit the bottom of that scale. We're focusing on voicing and correct notes this time. So pulling out the left hand to mezzo forte while the right hand stays piano. 1, 2, here we go. the dynamics, which are fairly simple in this. So your left hand voicing hand will be mezzo forte, your right hand will be piano. We do have a crescendo and a ritardando at the end of what we just played. So as we're moving down that scale, we're getting louder and louder, and the E at the bottom is the climax. We're also getting slower and slower, which makes that climax even greater. So let's start now at measure 16, paying attention to those dynamics. 1, 2, here we go. Great. The last thing I want to add into this section is the pedal. So we will begin with our pedal down. 1, 2, at 16, go. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Great. Let's look at these chords here. So after you hit this bottom E, your right hand plays a first inversion, or actually it's a second inversion A minor chord. And then we are going to play something very close and come to an E major. So go ahead and try that. It's an A minor second inversion. We move our middle finger to F sharp and then an E major chord. And now we're going to come to D minor. 4, 2, 1, 3 and 1. Now move down a skip. This is an A major chord with the middle part in the right hand. At the very top, you won't be able to see this if I play it all the way up here, but the notes are A, B, and E to end. Okay, let's try that. So let's start from the descent. So where our left hand is coming down the scale. So we're starting in measure 20. 1, 2, ready, go. Great. Looking at the dynamics, we start out mezzo forte with the left hand there in measure 20, and we build up and have the ritardando we already talked about. We hit the climax with the bottom E in measure 22, and we also go back to a tempo there. So that means that our pacing for our chords when they come in are not at the slowed down speed, but they are at the normal tempo. We also diminuendo to mezzo forte at that part. And then in the last line, we're going to continue that diminuendo all the way down to piano. It also will ritardando at the end, so it will get slower. Our very last note is pianissimo. Let's play this section again, focusing on those dynamics. We're beginning in measure 20. 1, 2, here we go. The last step to focus on with this ending is the pedaling. We're beginning in measure 20 with our pedal down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up, down, 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 you have learned all of the individual sections for Nightfall, and you are ready to practice and master this piece.
Here is your practice plan to master Nightfall. Plan to practice this piece for 5 to 10 minutes every day. Every single day, your first step is to isolate that left hand melody and to work on its expression before you jump into the piece. The next step is to work on the individual sections and mastering them. In the beginning of your practice, this should be the large bulk of the time that you spend on the piece. By the end of the practice, you are hopefully working through the sections quickly and moving on to the next step, which is to play the piece as a whole. To learn a piece like Nightfall, you need to focus on your mastery. Mastery is much more than just playing the notes on the page. When you have mastered a piece, you can consistently play with accuracy and precision, and it feels easier and you have more confidence. As you are playing the different sections and then the piece as a whole, please evaluate yourself on these checkpoints in front of you to see how you are doing in each section. Understanding where your pitfalls lie and the areas that you still need to work on is how you focus your next practice of the piece. You've made it all the way through this video and you are ready to go master this piece on your own with practice. Feel free to revisit this video at any point as you are mastering it so that it can help you move along. Great job focusing and good luck in your mastery practice.